Hi there, welcome to Leith's School of Food and Wine in London. I'm here with the head chef from Sky Pro Cycling, Soren and the head of nutrition, Nigel Mitchell. And we're going to be talking about how you guys get the riders ready the night before and the next stage of a grand tour. So, Soren, we're talking about dinner tonight.
Yeah.
So tell us about the choices that the riders will have at dinner.
Every night for dinner they would have two options. They would have one option with fish and another option for meat. And normally in the beginning of the grand tour we can be a little bit more nicer to the rider, give them some good meat. Most of the time they would have chicken and turkey because it's easier to digest. But also we have to please the rider a little bit. I can easily have 9 riders who is not happy with the chef, and then I don't have a job.
And then you don't have a job.
So that's
a balancing act.
It's a balance, and this is not holiday camp. This is racing.
Yeah, cool.
So they know it, but we have to make them smile.
Okay, well we're going to talk to Nigel in a minute about the nutritional aspects, but let's get going on the beef first, I think. So tell us, what cut of beef is this?
This is the best part of the cow. It's a tenderloin of beef.
Yeah.
And this is very, very high quality. We have just trimmed it so there's a little bit of fat.
Yeah.
I would take a little bit of olive oil, just put a tiny, tiny bit.
Tell us why it is that the riders every night will have a choice of a fish and a meat.
Right, so we give the riders a choice, mainly because some of the times the guys just might not be wanting meat.
Okay.
Some of the times they might not be wanting fish. So it's really from an option point of view, so that they don't get stale with the same thing. From a nutritional point of view, there's different qualities with fish to meat. The things like the red meat in particular is higher in iron, so it's a really good source of iron as well as good source of protein. Fish like salmon is a really good source of protein and things such as the omega-3 fatty acids, which is again really good for us, really healthy for us.
Soren, tell us exactly what you've done with that fillet.
I'm just put it on the grill to close it.
And the grill is very, very hot.
It's very, very hot, and I only do it for a short time. And like Nigel he say, we have to close the meat.
Yep.
So all the juice or the moisture stays in the meat. And one of the biggest mistake people are doing when they are making meat, that's they don't take the time to cook it. I would cook this meat 2 times, maybe 10 minutes the first time, take it out and let it stay outside for 10-15 minutes so it gets cold, so the warmth has to go in and out and the meat. Put it in one more time, let it stay, and maybe just give it 2 minutes before serving. And if you do it like traditional, or a lot of people would do, they would roast this one for, let's say, 20 minutes. They would take it out, let it stay on the chopping board for 5 minutes, and then cut it, and then all the blood and all the juice is going out of the meat. Now we put it in the oven. And
okay, so you've sealed the outside.
I sealed the outside.
And your oven's at what temperature?
It's about 200 degrees. Okay. I put a little bit of salt and pepper underneath the meat.
Okay.
I don't like to put salt on the meat because you can take the liquid out.
Okay.
But some people put salt on, some people don't put salt on.
So you put salt and pepper underneath the meat, and then
underneath the meat,
straight into the oven.
Straight into the oven.
You're going to leave that for 10 minutes.
And in between, it's staying in the oven. I would start doing some other things.
From the meat point of view, we do not use something like a steak, like a red meat, every day. We tend to use it in a grand tour maybe 2 or 3 times. And the reason for it is that red meat does take a little bit more digesting. It can sit a little bit heavier in the stomach.
Sorry, you took the salmon, they were just salmon fillets, were they?
It was just plain salmon fillet, take off the skin, taking off the bones, put it into pieces around 220 grams. Okay. Again, I put salt and pepper underneath the salmon. Yeah. I put a little bit of the agave. Yeah. The agave is like the honey, just to make it a little bit colorful and put a little bit of a glaze on it when I roast it. And I would say normally 6-7 minutes in the oven should be fine for this kind of salmon.
Really, that quick?
Yeah. It's okay that it's a little bit like raw in the middle, but of course not too much, just so it still have a little bit of the same color.
And then you've got you're preparing some vegetables here as well with a mandolin.
Yes. I would use a little bit of broccoli and some cauliflower, but this one is going to be like a salad.
So you mean a vegetable salad, effectively?
Yeah, a small salad.
So from a vegetable point of view, when we're looking at our foods, we can think about having our go foods. So we've got our carbohydrates and our proteins, and then we've got our what we can consider glow foods that give us the nutrients that we need to get the energy from it. So we can have go and glow.
Right.
So if we look at the vegetables are really packed full of the vitamins that we need to keep the body healthy and to get the metabolism there. To get
they're glow foods.
They're glow foods and go foods.
Okay. So Soren, you're mixing mango with the cauliflower and the broccoli.
Yes, because also in the mango you have a lot of traditional natural sugar.
Okay.
And you have a thing, I think you call it pectin.
Yeah, there's pectin in.
Yeah. And pectin is actually a thing you use in marmalades and things like that. But it's good to also break down the things in the cauliflower and in the broccoli. And because this is raw, it's very crispy. And if you marinate it with the mango for maybe, let's say, 1.5 hours, then it's, of course, it's still raw, but it's more tender.
I see. Olive oil's gone in there as well, Soren?
Olive oil is going in there, and you can put a little bit of sesame oil, and you can put chopped parsley just to sprinkle it up also.
Okay.
It's so easy to take some very good tomatoes, some fresh basil, and some mozzarella from the buffalo milk.
Okay, so we've got some buffalo mozzarella here. With do you mix that in with the tomato?
No, I took the basil and put together with the chopped tomato and put a tiny bit of olive oil.
Olive oil,
And then I just mix it together.
Okay.
We use a lot of fish oils, and in particular some of the fish oils, again, can be lacking in the diet, some of the omega-3 fats. Spoke about the seeds earlier, the same type of oil. So we're trying to give the nutrients to the riders that are actually going to help with their recovery and help with the immune system.
Okay. Wow, so that's the beef that's been in. It's been in once for 10 minutes. It's come out for 2 minutes, and then it's gone back in for another 10 minutes.
And the smell is fantastic.
Yeah. And I cannot explain you how the meat should be, but I have the feeling in my hands.
Okay.
And it's the same, like I don't burn my fingers like you would burn your fingers. I'm a little bit allergic to the heat.
Okay. And now you've just put that on some foil, and you're going to leave that to rest now for how long?
Now I would just leave it so the steam can get out, and then I would cover it up, so still the warm air would be inside.
Okay.
And then I would cut it up.
Okay. And how long are you going to leave that for?
For minimum 10 minutes.
Super. So we'll do that for 10 minutes. And what about the different stages during the tour? How does the diet, how do the dishes alter when it's a sprint stage, maybe a time trial, or even some of the really mountainy stages?
When we're getting into the mountains, again, one of the really important things that we're doing there is making sure that the food that they're eating is very easily digested and goes through the system. So Soren wouldn't be doing quite as much of the raw vegetables when we're going into those, and we wouldn't be using the red meats. It'd be much more of the fish and the chicken,
and cooked vegetables,
and cooked, much more cooked on the cooked side of it rather than raw when we're in the mountains. Time trial day is a really interesting one because riders are off at different times. And what we do is we look at the rider and we work backwards on time. So if a rider's off at 4 o'clock, then we work backwards and we say, right, 4 o'clock they're racing, so 3 to 4 hours before that is pre-race meal, and then working back for that, they'll have breakfast. So depending on when they're racing, and a pre-race meal that we will tend to use in the time trial is very, very simple, is omelette and rice.
Now, in terms of the mixture of vegetables, Nigel, you talked earlier on about colour and the different colours. Is that the same when you're looking at the vegetables?
Absolutely. So we've got a nice mixture of different types of vegetables. At home, a lot of people just might have one vegetable, and that restricts some of the nutritional profile that they're getting from there. So we tend to mix it like this.
Here you have the salmon.
Yep.
Roasted like 7 minutes in the oven.
7 minutes in the oven, again at 200 degrees?
Yeah, 160, 200 degrees. You have a little bit of the spinach, the eggplant, the asparagus, and the...
Beautiful.
These are roughly the portion sizes that we'd expect for the salmon. So they're quite a large portion. That's a little bit bigger than what most people would have at home.
Right. Beautiful.
So now Soren's getting out our carbohydrate sources for the meal. So this is basmati rice, and we use basmati rice for 2 reasons. One, I believe it's got a nicer flavour than just normal plain rice, and also it's got a lower glycemic index, so it's a little bit more slowly absorbed, and it's also getting out quinoa as well. And so the quinoa is a seed from South America, high in vitamins, high in minerals, high in protein, good source of the essential fats that we spoke about, can taste really good as well.
Now this is the fillet.
Of course you would have the seasons, the rice and the quinoa,
Yeah.
potatoes by the side, and then the riders mix it all together on the plate. Normally we do the starters like on the plate and the main course like a buffet.
Okay.
So that would be a normal portion of beef, and then one of the riders, if they were having the rice, would probably have about that much rice,
Okay.
and they'd have about...
So they'd have
from.
both of the carbohydrates.
Yeah,
normally.
it would be their choice, but a lot of the riders would go for both. Then they would put olive oil on there. Excuse me. Now, say they have olive oil on everything.
Yeah.
And maybe a little bit of vinegar as well. But that would probably be, after they've had the starter, wouldn't be a million miles away from a normal portion.
So it looks absolutely wonderful. It really does. I wonder whether I should taste it and give it a little go, shall I? So we've got beetroot here. Beef is cooked beautifully.
Oh, it's... I'll try the salmon too.
Yeah, you try the salmon. Very good.
That little bit of agave on the salmon works really well. Shall we swap round after now?
Well, I tell you what, we're going to keep on tasting these. It is excellent, and actually I have to say, Soren, you've prepared it so wonderfully, but it didn't look that complicated. We should be able to do this sort of thing at home.
Most of the food we are serving for the riders, normal people should be able to do.
Brilliant, Soren. It looks marvellous. It tastes fantastic as well. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nigel, as well. Time for me to have my dinner.